before we get to talking about what we are actually learning, I want you guys to look up at the board, and there's going to see a bunch of either names or different words, and I want you guys to look at it and then just shout out what sticks out to you. Very good. So can anybody kind of take a guess of what all of these words have in common?
They all have to do with the time period?
They do all have to do with a certain time period, so that's good. Obviously, they all have to do something with history. So today we're going to be learning about the progressive era. So we're going to be working with the progressive era today. Can anybody look at this word and just see like a smaller word that they see within it?
Progress.
Progress. So there's the word progress. Can somebody tell me what the word progress means?
Moving forward.
Yeah, moving forward. So during this era, we're going to see a lot of change and reform and just moving forward from like bad habits that we had. So the progressive era is going to be from 1890 to the 1920s. And there's going to be a couple, well there's going to be several reformers, but we're just going to hit on a couple today. And these reformers, most of them are going to be called muckrakers. Now when you hear the word muck, it doesn't really have a good connotation, does it? It kind of sounds like gross. Well, that's because these people are going to be like digging up the dirt, and they're going to be showing people how like terrible certain things were during this era. So our first muckraker that we're going to go over is Upton Sinclair. Upton Sinclair is going to focus on the meat packing industry. So, reason why, okay, so meat packing industry during this time period, it's disgusting. It's really bad. But not very many people know about it. And frankly, people who are in it do not really care as long as they're getting their money and they're getting paid. So you say you have your cow. Here's our cow. Okay, so happy little cow that's fixing to go and be butchered. Well, the problem with this cow is that it has a disease. It's sick. Oh, sad cow. It's sick. But, whatever. It's not that big a deal. So this is going to be butchered anyway and made into your meat. Yay, nice T-bone steak. Yum. Except no, because this is a diseased cow, and this is going to make people sick. So Upton Sinclair, he's going to write a novel. It's called The Jungle. And so when you hear jungle's kind of crazy. Well, he's kind of relating that back to things in the meatpacking industry. They were crazy. They were gross. So in response to this, the government is going to pass the Meat Inspection Act, which basically means they have to actually check the meat and make sure that it isn't bad for you. Our next muckraker that I'm going to go over is going to be Susan B. Anthony. So Susan B. Anthony is going to mainly focus on women's rights. So W.E.B. Du Bois, he's going to focus on civil rights, but more specifically with civil rights, he is going to focus on African American education. We're going to rewind a little bit and talk about somebody. He's not on your notes, but you do have some extra space on the bottom if you want to write something down. So there is also another man who focuses kind of on African American education. His name is Booker T. Washington. Now Booker T. Washington's idea of education was, okay, let's play nice with the white people. We need to make them happy because things aren't going to change. We just need to be happy with the way they are. Like, we're not going to have, like, integrated schools. That's ridiculous. So we might as well be happy with what we are doing and be, like, okay with the skills that we're learning and just try our best at those. Well, W.E.B. Du Bois is like, no, we should be able to get a college education. We should be able to strive to be better. We should be able to be businessmen just like white people. And so that's going to be his main focus throughout this progressive era. So he's also going to form the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People. So NAACP. So National Association for the advancement of colored people. So this is why I had us do W.E.B. Du Bois first, is because Ida B. Wells is going to be a part of the NAACP. Now, Ida B. Wells is also going to focus on civil rights as well as women's rights. But more specifically within civil rights, she's going to be focusing on the lynching of African American people. So just to clarify, so does everybody know what lynchings are? Yeah? No? So lynching is going to be the illegal hanging of people. So they're just going to drag people, it's going to be mostly African Americans. They're going to just drag them out of the house, just hang them down the street on a tree. That's what lynching is. So her main focus is going to be talking about the statistics of how many people are being lynched in America. What we're going to talk about is going to be our labor rights. So people are going to push for an 8-hour work week, or work day, sorry. And we're also going to establish a minimum wage. Okay, so now we're going to start looking at the amendment. Okay, so the 16th Amendment is going to now be our right, well, the right of the government to make an income tax. Our next amendment that we're going to cover is the 17th Amendment. This is going to be your direct election of senators. So now we're going to go to the 18th Amendment. Our 18th Amendment. Now we have our temperance people have finally won out. This is going to be prohibition. The 18th Amendment bans the sale, the consumption, anything to do with alcohol. You can't do it. So the 18th Amendment does help some, but it is going to be later repealed by the 21st. Now we're going to move on to the 19th Amendment. The 19th Amendment is finally going to give women the right to vote. Okay, so what you guys are going to do is you're going to, on the back of your notes sheet, you're going to think of like a slogan, like a chant, like anything and you're going to pick any of the areas that we covered. So labor rights, civil rights, women's rights, in meat packing industry, and you're going to come up with like a little slogan to convince everybody else in the class why your cause is important. Would anybody like to share what they came up with? Make sure you tell everybody what your cause is first.
And I said meat as in M-E-E-T, meet your meat as in M-E-A-T, food industry uncovered.
The meat in the street isn't very sweet. Expect you to die within a week, said cow's moo.
It said sharing is a carry, don't share.
Sarah, yours are here too.
Mine was civil rights, and then I guess it was rights shouldn't be skinny.
So can somebody tell me, like maybe you found somebody who shared particularly persuasive. How do you guys think that this connects back in the progressive era when these muckrakers were trying to convince people of their cause? So they had to come up with things to make people think about what they were saying and keep thinking about it and have other people join their cause, and then later make the government see what they were talking about and think about and keep thinking about how they should change that. Can anybody tell me, like, just maybe an issue that today that you think that needs a little bit more attention? There's a lot of issues today that are really, really, like, well known because people are making a really big deal about it. Like gay rights, a lot of people they're making articles and they're writing things and making a big deal about it. Gun control, people are making a big deal about it. So when I was giving you those stats about slavery, nobody's making a big deal about that, though. So there are so many little issues that we don't even realize that people aren't making a big deal about, and that should be made a big deal about. So that's what these muckrakers were doing. They were finding these little things that nobody even realized were going on, and then making a big deal about it.